It wasn't what she said at first. It was how casually she said it. Like it didn't matter. Like the person she was talking about wasn't someone's mother. Someone's family. Someone's entire reason for holding things together. And that night, a 23-year-old girl who had never once stepped inside the exhausting reality of our home, looked at me and my sick mother and said we needed to pull our weight. That sentence didn't just hurt. It rearranged something inside me. Because some words don't just insult you. They reveal how little you mean to someone. And in that moment, I realized I had two choices. Stay quiet. Or finally stop letting people walk all over my home. I chose the second. Moving sounds like a simple life event. Boxes, packing, cleaning, leaving. But no one talks about what it actually feels like when it stretches across weeks. When every room you enter reminds you of something unfinished. When every object you lift feels heavier than it should. When your body starts protesting before your mind even catches up. We weren't just moving. We were dismantling a life we had built for years. And doing it slowly. Painfully. Piece by piece. My mother is 61. She has chronic respiratory disease and arthritis. Some days she breathes like every inhale is a negotiation with her body. Some days she pauses mid-step just to collect enough strength to continue walking. But she still insisted on helping. Because that's who she is. The kind of person who refuses to become a burden. Even when she is clearly exhausted. I tried to stop her. Every time. But she would just smile slightly and say, "If I don't do it, it won't get done properly." That sentence stayed with me. Because she wasn't talking about boxes. She was talking about life. And then there's me. Chronic asthma. Not dramatic enough for people to notice. But enough to remind me constantly that my body has limits I cannot ignore. After a few trips up and down the stairs, my chest tightens. My breathing gets uneven. And I have to pause somewhere where no one sees me just to recover. But I never stopped. Because there was no one else. Except Carly. My younger sister. 22. Full of life. Full of friends. Full of a world that didn't look anything like ours at the moment. She helped us when she could. But she was also living her own life in between all of this. And I never blamed her for that. Until her friends entered the picture. Carly had planned a sleepover. Something normal. Something harmless. Something that didn't belong in the chaos of moving and exhaustion. For her, it was probably a break. For us, it was a complication. My mom didn't stop her immediately. She just explained gently. Carefully. Like she was trying not to sound like she was asking for too much. "We really need your help right now, Carly, just for a few more days." Carly hesitated. I saw it in her face. That moment where she was stuck between two worlds. Her friends. And her family. Eventually, she agreed. She called her friend Chloe. From what we understood, Chloe accepted the change. No issue. No argument. It felt like the situation was handled. But people don't always say what they actually feel in the moment. Because later that night, everything changed. It started in the group chat. At first, it was nothing serious. Complaints. Frustration. Passive comments about plans being ruined. I ignored it at first. Because that's what you do when you're already tired. You try not to make things heavier than they are. But then Bethany spoke. And her words didn't just change the tone. They changed everything. She said, "Your family needs to pull their weight." I read it once. Then again. Because sometimes your brain refuses to accept what your eyes are seeing. My mother, who can barely climb stairs without stopping, who struggles to breathe on bad days. Who keeps going anyway. Reduced to someone who is not doing enough. And me. Someone already pushing through physical limits. Judged like I was lazy. Like exhaustion was a choice. And the worst part. She didn't say it like an insult. She said it like it was a fact. Like she was right. Like she understood anything about our lives. She didn't see the sweat. The pauses. The quiet suffering in between tasks. She didn't see my mother sitting down on the stairs just to recover. She didn't see me pretending I was fine when my chest was tightening. She only saw inconvenience. And she judged it. There's something people don't understand about disrespect. It's rarely one moment. It's a build-up. Years of small things you ignore because you want peace. Years of letting things slide because you don't want conflict. Years of convincing yourself that people don't mean it like that. But it always reaches a point where your silence becomes heavier than their words. I had tolerated Carly's friends for a long time. The attitude. The entitlement. The casual disregard for boundaries. The way they treated our home like it existed for their convenience. And I told myself it wasn't worth reacting. Until it was. Because Bethany didn't just insult us. She exposed how little respect there actually was. So I stopped responding emotionally. I stopped arguing. I stopped explaining. I made a decision. Calm. Clear. Final. They're not welcome here anymore. No discussion. No debate. No more access to a home they never respected in the first place. My mother agreed immediately. Not loudly. Not angrily. Just quietly. Like she had been waiting for someone to finally say it. Carly didn't fight it either. She just went quiet. And in that silence, I saw something shift in her. Realization. Maybe even disappointment. Not in me. But in them. The house changed after that. Not physically. But emotionally. It became quieter. Not the uncomfortable kind of quiet. But the kind that comes after something heavy is removed. Like the air can finally move again. Carly still speaks to her friends. I never told her to cut them off completely. That wasn't the point. The point was never control. It was boundaries. Something we should have set a long time ago. Bethany never apologized. Not once. Not even a message. And strangely, that made everything clearer. Because apology is what usually creates confusion. It makes you question your reaction. It makes you wonder if you overreacted. But silence removes that doubt. And what's left is simple truth. Some people don't respect you. They just tolerate you until you stop tolerating them. And maybe that's the part no one likes to admit. Sometimes the moment you protect your family is the same moment you become the bad guy in someone else's story. But I've started to understand something. You don't become the bad guy for setting boundaries. You become the mirror people don't want to look into. And if protecting my mother makes me the problem in someone's story, then I can live with that. Because at least in my story, I did the right thing.